So there's $108,000 more revenue for $20,000 less spend. That is a massive swing. And you know why? This is the email, and it's called the Great Win because this is from the client. And what you're going to see is 2023 on the left-hand side and 2024 on the right-hand side. If you look at both of these sides here, we have pulled back in ad spend more recently, but what you'll see is in the 73,000 that was spent last year, it was 281,000 in rev. This year it's 53,000 in ad spend that we're looking at here and 389,000 in revenue. So there's $108,000 more revenue for $20,000 less spend. That is a massive swing. And you know why? It's because everybody that was not ready to buy that Google could have bid on, called it a conversion, reported the conversion, and said, yep, I did that. All of the people that it can't see doing that, those are your max clicks campaigns. We always, since inception that you've really seen any one of my videos, tier 11 videos, whatever it may be, have always said that in-app performance is, the reporting is complete false. It's completely fake. The information that Google wants you to see is conversion based, not traffic based. You could buy 100 clicks on max clicks and they may report 50% of those that convert. And that's by design. Google wants to give you only the people that they can convert because they can charge the most. They can continue to charge even more when it's successful. And they get to choose how to divide up the sales or the leads by whoever's wanting to play ball. So the little guy or little girl in the industry can go up against the big dog in the industry. Like you may not be, Nike shoes, but if you develop Fikey shoes, you can have a seat at the table of people who wants to buy shoes. And it's great. I mean, I think it's a model that works until you're ready to scale and eat into more of, Nike's market share. That's where everything fails. And that's where 99% of the businesses can't scale is because they're trying to buy the sales. And Google's like, well, out of 1,000 people, I have 100. I'm going to divide them up. Whoever wants to have the highest amount of ad spend and take the least amount of profit, and because that means there's more profit for me and I get to dictate that. So this kind of counteracts that. And I want to give you an update that is going to look worse in app. But then we get an email from the owner. Now we've already known how this has been performing. We already know this. We're working well because we're watching top line only. But this is reiterating the importance of not believing Google Ads performance tracking. And it's going to only really get worse. Like it basically should have hit its peak worseness in September of this year. So last month, it shouldn't get any quote unquote worse than that. But we launched this as Google was removing more and more of its third-party cookies and its conversion tracking capabilities. So I'm going to share a screen and I'm going to give you one campaign's use case, and then I'm going to share with you the actual results. And this is where things get very, very, very interesting because, as I've said always since the inception of time, that in-app performance does not mean anything. So I'm on my laptop.
If that's a new concept for you, and this is maybe your first time, and thank you for reiterating what this strategy is. We're sort of assuming that most of the people that are on today's call have seen some of the previous videos. So this is basically you're feeding data, your own data back into Google, literally. So it's the feeder strategy, it's the two-step strategy, traffic, then plus a conversion campaign, which then allows you to be able to scale past sort of that limitation, that sort of that thermostat or that governor that Google puts on you when you're bidding, just purely for conversions. But the in-app metrics, and this is the same with Meta as well, is that they can't be believed, especially when you're multi-channel. There was a time and a place when Meta only, we say this all the time, is if you were Meta only and that's all you had, then yeah, sure, you got a lower ad spend, you're not trying to scale, you can look in app. But when you're going, this is a multi-channel world that we live in now. Like there's lots of different ways in which people can convert, and the in-app metrics are just not the metrics you should be looking at. You should be, yes, glancing at them, viewing them, but not using them as your master. Your master really should be ultimately what's happening inside the CRM, where the money is collected at the end of the day. But like that, if that's a foreign concept to you, that's something you have to sort of wrap your head around. It's a theme that we have been beating to these tier 11 lives, as well as over on perpetual traffic as well. So
Yep.
Take it away.
Cool. Yeah, it's always, you're never going to get fired by having poor in-app performance, but a scaling profitable company. That's it. Whether you work for the company or an agency of the company, freelancer for that company, doesn't matter. No one's going to be like, man, I made more money than I've ever had in my entire life after I've hired you. But it's a 1x return in-app, so you're fired. That doesn't ever happen. Right. Or they do, but those are bad business owners. So it's a minority. Anywho.
That's true.
So, yeah.
you should fire them.
I've had that happen, and I have fired clients because of that. Yeah. And I'm on my laptop, so I'm only seeing my screen here that I'm sharing. Are we sharing right now?
Yeah, we are. You're good.
Okay. I no longer can see the podcast. I can only see this here because I'm on one screen right now. But so this one here is the dual prong, two-step feeder, whatever you want to call it, in California since inception. Mm-hmm. Now I have a TCPA here and a max clicks. Same keywords. TCPA is using broad match. Max clicks is using exact match, and that's by design. Max clicks is going for the highest amount of intent, exactly how I want it, with good positioning and low CPC. And the TCPA saying, of all those people that I can find on my own and the people that came first click from max clicks, I will go convert them. Mm-hmm. So what's nice about this is since September 9th, so it's been a little over like a month and a half, we've been able to spend 70 grand inside of California. So 55K on TCPA, 15 grand on max clicks. Now what you'll see is that my TCPA is doing a 272 ROAS in-app, and my max clicks is doing a 215 ROAS in-app. What's kind of also interesting, though, is when you look at 55 grand versus 15, you have 12,000 and 13,000 clicks. So the CPC on max clicks is very, very cheap. It's $1 compared to $4. Yeah. So your max clicks is high intent, but because Google says, I don't know if these people are going to convert or not. Right. It's like, okay, so I can actually spend like 75 cents less on these people, but still get a 215 versus a 272 ROAS. Great. So you can see how and it's the same keyword. When Google thinks it can sell somebody, look how much more they charge you. It's ridiculous. Same keyword. And these are broad match at $4 and my exact match at $1. It's everything we've ever known just flipped. It's complete BS. It's no longer an auction. It is 100% price fixing. But check this out.
Because they know the intent.
Exactly. Hey, I think this is going to convert, and if I charge you $4, I can meet your TCPA. If I had a more restrictive TCPA, they'll probably give me the same amount of traffic, but for $3. Right. It's all BS.
But you're clearly calling out the people that are interested. That's the whole idea, is you're creating the market for yourself to then scoop up those conversions with the secondary campaign. Exactly.
And what's funny too is you can see how much more intentful these people are. Out of 55,000 impressions, 13 clicks. Out of 100,000 impressions, 12,000 clicks. So I have more clicks with half the impressions. And that's because this is intent, but not everyone's ready to buy, but you still want them. You still need to introduce yourself. It's asinine to think, well, if I don't get a sale, I'm not going to get the click. It's like, that's the opposite of what marketing's about. It's like, hey, don't let anybody in the store unless they're going to buy something. Yeah, you have 3 people in your store that day.
Right. Exactly. I mean, it's so rare. It's funny when I say this because we always talk about like the customer journey, like the natural way that people buy is usually more than one step. However, I just broke my own rule today. I was trying to find like our tier 11, our most recent tier 11 Instagram post, and I saw this light. Because Allison told me like our lighting sucks. So I found this light that looked really cool on Instagram. I literally saw the ad. It was a video ad. I clicked. I went over to Amazon, of course, to see if it was, free shipping. They didn't offer that exact product, but then I bought right there. So I was one click over to Amazon and then back to the site. And then it was Shopify because they had all my stuff like preloaded.
Yep.
I'm like that. I was like, wow, I should probably say that on live today because it's not always that you go through like 27 steps before you buy.
Right.
I mean, that's $150 purchase, but it's something that I actually did need. And I'm sure my phone was listening to me, so they knew what I wanted. But the point is that's the exception to the rule.
Yeah. And what's funny is this is the exception to the rule. And then this is the rule. And I get to buy the exact same amount of people just with 1/5 less. Or 4/5 less of the ad spend. So here's what's interesting. We're going into an off season for this company. This company has a service that talks about a service that has something to do with rental vehicles of a recreational vehicle type. So I'm going to leave it at that, so I don't give away, any kind of personal or client information. But you have to know the industry, and so this is going into an off season, which is more holiday, winter. It's not really going to pick up until kind of Q1, late Q1 2025. So you can see even in the entire account, we've actually pulled back $156,000. We're down 38% in the last month and a half. That is a massive pullback.
Yeah.
But because we're buying so much more traffic, than what we would have been buying if we just didn't use this strategy. This is the email, and it's called the Great Win because this is from the client. This is actually since very close to inception. And what you're going to see is 2023 on the left-hand side and 2024 on the right-hand side. Yeah. And this was an email to us that says, hey, great job, exactly what we want to see, yada, yada, yada. And I'll highlight here, if you look at both of these sides here, we have pulled back in ad spend more recently. But what you'll see is in the 73,000 that was spent last year, it was 281,000 in rev. This year it's 53,000 in ad spend that we're looking at here and 389,000 in revenue. So there's $108,000 more revenue for $20,000 less spend. That is a massive swing. And you know why? It's because everybody that was not ready to buy, that Google could have bid on, seen that they're ready to buy, called it a conversion, reported the conversion, and said, yep, I did that. All of the people that it can't see doing that, those are your max clicks campaigns.
Right.
Those are all the people that Google had no idea if they're going to buy. And those people are going to come back directly, organically, sign up for email, come back 2, 3, 4 weeks later. All the stuff that Google can no longer see, all the stuff that Google can no longer predict, it's still going to happen. People didn't wake up one day and be like, hey, you know what? I'm no longer going to buy a sink in 3 days. I need to wait 27 days because Google can't track me anymore. No, people have no idea what Google Ads is. Right. So it's human nature hasn't changed. The platform has changed. And that's why I always say is take your mindset out of the data and put yourself back into the 34-year-old female in Mississippi that wants to take her family on vacation. They have no idea what Google Ads is. They have no idea what we're doing. But that did not change, period. So all of the people that Google said, I don't think or I don't know that person's going to buy. Well, I said, well, I'll take 1/5 and I'll buy all of them. And then boom, we 5x our profitability in a month.